And thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Susan Hirasuna. That scene is a huge contrast from yesterday's tens of thousands of people who took to the streets all over Southern California and beyond for No King's Day yesterday, with the biggest one in downtown LA. Thousands of people marching through the city, pushing back against recent ICE raids and perceived corruption. The atmosphere was peaceful for most of the day, with protesters holding signs and flags from all over the world. But then things took a turn later in the afternoon. LAPD says a group of agitators started to attack police officers and cause chaos. That led to the declaration of unlawful assembly and an order to disperse. Officers with tear gas and rubber bullets used skirmish lines to push the crowd out of downtown. This lasted several hours up until the curfew at 8. Some in the crowd insisted they never heard the order to disperse before they were hit with tear gas. And we've got new numbers tonight from LAPD about yesterday's protest in downtown LA. Police say 3 officers were hurt and more than 30 people arrested, most of them for violating curfew. LAPD says 12 officers total have been injured and more than 500 people arrested since the start of the protests last Saturday. Now take a look at this. Skyfox flying over downtown LA tonight, where protesters have filled the streets for the past several nights a week. It now looks pretty much like a ghost town. The 8 o'clock curfew now in effect until 6 tomorrow morning. Well, while it is refreshing change from the past few nights and days, tonight's protests were not completely without incident. Fox 11's Laura Diaz is in downtown LA, live with a story you'll see only on Fox 11. Laura.
Yes, well, we were told that there was a crash at 5th and Hill in downtown Los Angeles. We were able to actually talk to somebody who was watching from high above, several stories from his apartment building, and he says that a driver was attempting to go through the intersection when he was approached by a number of protesters. They were blocking that intersection, according to our eyewitness. He also supplied video to us. He does not believe that it was intentional, even though the LAPD is calling it a hit and run. Let's watch.
The group was blocking the intersection, and he pulled into the intersection. She got on the front of his car, and then they just pulled through and kept going, and then the car took off. And they brought her to the side until the ambulance got here.
That's an eyewitness describing the accident at 5th and Hill in downtown Los Angeles. As this cell video shows, the driver of the red car was traveling down 5th when a crowd of protesters gathered. One person appears to be on the hood of the car when the driver speeds away northbound on Hill. The LAPD says the call came in at 7:30 Sunday night. They call it a hit and run, and it doesn't appear to be a targeted attack, according to the LAPD. Earlier Sunday, protesters against the ICE raids in Southern California were out for day 2 of protests, wrapping around City Hall. They marched in the afternoon heat, passionate that the raids must end.
I'm here to support, all the migrant students, international students and workers, that come right here to America for a better opportunity in life, and I'm ready to support them, and be a voice for them.
You go to work on a farm, in a meatpacking factory, in a restaurant, in the auto industry, I don't know. People are doing jobs. They're doing something useful for society. They get picked off.
The Sunday demonstrations come one day after tens of thousands of people descended on downtown LA in No King's Day protests in opposition to President Trump's policies. For the most part, demonstrations have been peaceful, but there have been pockets of violence and vandalism, prompting Mayor Bass to continue the curfew in a 1 square block area of downtown LA, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Some downtown residents object.
Well, everything's closed now. In 1 hour, it'll be closed. So it's like, what do we do, Because sometimes, a lot of times on Sundays, I like to go to just the neighborhood bars around 10 o'clock, but now I can't.
Coming back live to downtown Los Angeles, we're standing right across from the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. It's very quiet at this hour. Earlier, there were some people coming out, I think, after a late show, but Mayor Bass says that she's still hearing from merchants and from some people who live downtown. They think that the curfew is valuable, that it makes them feel safe. I'm Laura Diaz reporting live from downtown, sending it back to the studio. Susan?
Well, Laura, I'm surprised that there was a performance at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion.
Well, I believe that's what it was, because there were a great number of people who were walking down the stairs when we pulled up. So that's an assumption on my part. I could be wrong, but from where they were walking, I believe that it was the Dorothy Chandler. I know they were trying to work with some of the plays downtown to try to keep them going, because this has been a huge financial hit for some businesses. And you can only imagine if somebody had been planning to go to a play, they bought the tickets in advance, maybe they even came in from out of town, that could be very disappointing to a traveler and to somebody who loves live theater.
Indeed. All right, Laura Diaz, thank you very much. One person is in custody following Saturday's No Kings protest. Huntington Beach police say Eduardo Pineda was arrested after he threatened to fight someone. Police found a loaded gun on him and then discovered he was a convicted felon. Pineda was booked for being in possession of a loaded firearm, public fighting, and other outstanding warrants. New at 10, President Trump has ordered ICE officials to expand their deportation efforts in Democratic-run cities, including Los Angeles. In a Truth Social post, the president telling officials to, quote, do all in their power to achieve the very important goal of delivering the single largest mass deportation program in history. He mentions L.A., Chicago, and New York, where, quote, millions upon millions of illegal aliens reside. This comes just a day after he ordered officials to pause arrests at farms, restaurants, and hotels after seeing the impact on those industries. Caught on camera, a dramatic immigration raid at a car wash in Artesia. This video shows Customs and Border Patrol officers chasing and taking down suspected undocumented workers. It happened at the Big Penny Car Wash on Pioneer Boulevard. The exact number of arrests isn't clear, but when Fox 11 visited today, the car wash was closed, and it usually is open on Sundays. At least 10 people were hurt last night after a car crashed into a crowd leaving a soccer match at SoFi Stadium. It happened around 10:30 last night. According to the mayor of Inglewood, the driver reportedly claimed he fell asleep at the wheel. Cell phone video from a witness at the scene shows a car racing by at high speed.
Yes.
That car loses control up the road and plows into the crowd of pedestrians. 2 victims, including a 14-year-old, are reported to be in critical condition, and 8 others were hospitalized. The driver was also taken to the hospital.